Queenstown, that's the place that Queenstown is built as. It's a lovely place, a lovely environment. It's clean, it's green, there's plenty of things to do. But supporting the tourism industry, supporting the wealthy, is a huge group of people who struggle. Although it's got a very glamour and glitz outside to it, for a lot of people, living in Queenstown is a bit of a hard slog.
Queenstown isn't the sort of place that you would expect to find a gang problem in.
No, Queenstown has a fairly clean sort of an image.
Yeah.
But you can be sure that a place that's as affluent as this, party scene, you know, the arm of the gang certainly is here, and it just doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
You don't see the big bikes or the, you know, a fairly tough-looking dude with cats all over him, but they're sophisticated and they're clever, and they're here.
As a community, it must be, well, it just as coming in as an outsider, it feels very different to anywhere else I've been in New Zealand.
Well, it is an unusual town. If you were to look around, half the people you see don't live here. And then of those that do live here, half of them again have been here for less than 2 years. So it's a very unusual mix.
Yeah. You found yourself working with gang members, though, which perhaps wasn't what you thought you'd done.
No, well, you don't know who's going to walk through the front door. That's the bottom line. Again, often it's not, you're not going looking for people of any particular, you know, way or means, but it's what ended up, and they again felt comfortable to come in and seek the Salvation Army's help at their point of need.
So when someone comes in to you, what is it that they actually need from you?
Often it's the basics of life, food. If they haven't got a place to live, they're looking for shelter or accommodation. We have a number of people who find that actually what they do get in terms of income, whether it be from a benefit or from wages, often doesn't cover their basic living expenses, and so they're trying to figure out a way of doing that. And so we might help initially with practical assistance, but then it's actually looking at their environment. It's looking at ways that we can make ends meet, and rather than a handout, it's a hand up, helping them get to a sustainable point of self-management.
So why do they come to the army?
Well, I don't know. The Salvation Army, I think ultimately the Salvation Army has a reputation, has a name in the marketplace as people that can be trusted, and hopefully that involves a non-judgmental approach. People come to us knowing that, you know, we're not pointing the finger back at them saying, well, it's your fault you got yourself in this mess. We hopefully do not make people feel like that, but actually we're here to help. We want to see you achieve your best, have better outcomes for your life, and it's a great thing that you've decided to come and seek help, and we're here to help.
So tell me a bit about Tao, because he's someone who came to you.
Yeah, well, actually Tao, he did come to us, but he was also referred to us. He'd been through the court system. The Department of Corrections became aware that we were running a program called the Positive Lifestyles Program, and they recommended to Tao that he should get hooked up into that. And initially, Tao came on board rather reluctantly. I think for him it was part of doing his time. He was on home detention. But a few weeks into it, there was quite a big change around. Rather than having to turn up and do it, he was looking forward to it. In fact, he was starting to realise that what we were looking at was something that he needed to look at in his own life. But up until this point, because there was no one forcing him to look at it, he had never got round to it.
Oh. How's your family, mate? Yeah, good.
All good?
Yeah, it's all good. Everything's good.
Awesome.
Fairly powerful emotion, and one that gets us all. Not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, we need anger really in our lives as a key motivator. When we invest time and energy into someone really desiring for their best, and they take that on board and they start to apply it to their own lives, and we see them changing and lifting out of their circumstances into a higher plane, as it were, of living, that is a huge joy. But there are many cases when you put a lot of time and effort into people, And again, just bearing in mind this is only at this point in their journey. We don't know how much of what the influence that we put in now might actually mean something a bit later on the track, and they do turn around. But it is a little bit, disappointing, I guess, and you do get a little bit discouraged when you see people continue to make the same mistakes, continue to maybe take the advice that you've given them and just throw it away, as it were, and continue in the path that they're going, and find themselves in the same old rut, never seem to get out of it. So you do have both. You have the highs of seeing people change and do really well for themselves, and then you do also wonder, what good are you actually doing when you see some people stuck in the same rut.
That must test your faith.
Not really. I can only look at my own journey, I suppose, in that sense, Alan, and realise that, how many times really have I failed in my own attempts to live up to some of the high expectations and high ideals that I know God would have for me. And when you realise that God continues to give you chance after chance after chance, that when you see the same people walking through your doors, how can you really do anything less? It's not as if, you're back for the 14th time or whatever. It's not like that. It's actually, it's great that you came back. Let's have another crack at this. So it's not, it's not as if you failed. You haven't failed. You're still there, and that's really what the Salvation Army is about being there for people when they are at a point of need in their lives and they want to come and seek help. Now, we are hoping, of course, that they'll take on the full package, which includes what God is offering to them. But often it's not. They appreciate your help, they appreciate your assistance. They don't want, as it were, your religion, but they certainly appreciate all the help they get from us.